Taking the journey to Source, the spiritual journey, it starts obviously with the intent. You have the wish, the desire and the intention to walk that spiritual path. This is a reflection shown to you by nature. When you first start walking the path, not much seems to happen. It seems quite easy. It all goes fairly smoothly. But of course, you'll come to a fork. You have a choice of going different directions. And before long, you may find that the path that you have chosen to take can suddenly take quite a rapid descent. It's all a learning curve, and on that journey you may find that your whole world may just collapse. You may look back and realize how far you have descended, how far you have fallen. And of course, you'll be faced with choices. That would seem to be a fairly easy path. So let's take this one instead. Oh dear, we seem to be descending yet again. And of course, you'll be offered various temptations on the way. We could go along the creek and we could be tempted by the oranges and lemons from the orange and lemon trees, which aren't quite ready at this precise moment. But we're going to take the right-hand path. And when you take that right-hand path, because it's left behind, you cross a little bridge. Now things start to get a little bit more tricky. You may find that it's a very singular, narrow path. Whilst you're on your journey, whilst you are still on that ascension path, it's always good to have a look round and admire what there is to be seen. And of course, don't forget, look back how far you've come already. Don't just focus on how far you've still got to go, because it may be further than you actually think. There'll be points that get a little bit easier, but the road just seems to keep going. The long and winding road that leads me to your door comes to mind. Not from thinking, just allow those thoughts to come. When you think you've got there, you'll find it just keeps on going. You got a lot more climbing to go through. And of course, you may not know what is round the corner. The only way you're going to know is to go through the experience of doing it. Wow, it's warm today. Again, you could find yourself coming to forks, choices to make. And of course, you have to take responsibility for the choice that you take, the choice that you make on this path that you walk. Now it would appear we could go that way, but we're going to the right again. Oh dear, we seem to be descending yet again. You may encounter all sorts of obstacles on the way. It's highly recommended to be grounded and to be vigilant, not to feel fear of falling or stumbling, You're already descending. You've got to a certain level and you think, yes, I've got it. Oh no. This is all part of the experience. Eventually you'll get to a point where things would seem to level out, and it becomes just like that line that separates the yin and yang. It's not a straight path, it's a very narrow path, and there's lots of distractions, in this case bramble, along the way. And you'll go through all sorts of metaphysical challenges. But there's always contrast. It's beautifully cool down here in the shadows. Though I walk through the shadows, I will fear no evil. And of course it just seems to get harder and harder. And you'll encounter all kinds of obstacles along the way. And you have to find your way to navigate through them. Now, perfect demonstration by nature. We nearly went there. Fallen tree here. It's a solid obstacle. It's something to overcome. It's barring your way. Well, look at this. In the destruction there is beauty. Nature has freely given a lovely handhold so you can get past what would appear to be an obstruction. You may even look at the path and from the previous experience you think, well, you take the high road. You can forge your own path. You're a unique individual. So maybe take the low road for a while, see where it comes out. Because whichever choice you take on this path, what you'll find, what you'll find is it all leads in the same direction. You're still going to get there. And of course, we still have to go further into the darkness. Being aware of just being an aspect of the Creator, the embodiment of everything, you notice you've left yourself something to find your way back, something that you've added into the nature. You may not remember it, possibly don't even recognize it, but if you look with the mind's eye, it can be found. And of course, you'll get to points where there's obstacles, where you may have to find an alternative route. But the more you walk the path, the more experience you have. You learn from that experience on where you step, where you place yourself to find your way through. And repeatedly, it's repeated for you to learn. You'll get to points where you think, no way. And at this point, I shall have to pause again because I'm going to need both hands to get through this section. But nobody else can do it for me. I've got to put myself through this. I've got to climb up. I've got to overcome the obstacles. And then when you've done that, it still is a twisting path. But it's lovely and cool after the journey we've taken so far. You may not be able to see that far back, because the experiences, the spiritual downloads will just keep coming and coming. And as much as anything else, we can easily forget what we've already been through when we're faced with new challenges. And again, it repeats, just keeps repeating, and it still just seems to keep going. There'll be a lot of distractions on the way. Take, for example, the mud floods, because the stream actually runs underground under this pipe. And a lot of these things in this solid reality are just like these rocks down here. They're solid, but they're stuck in the mud. They ain't going anywhere. Onwards and upwards. You don't worry about the little distractions. It may be stones with little twinkly bits of quartz in them, things that are pleasing to the eye, to the physical eyes, which could lead to down a road of hoarding, of course. But if you stay focused, stay present, being aware of potential challenges, I'm going to say. They're not obstacles as such, unless you perceive them as obstacles. They're just lessons in life. It's all about remembering when you walk the path, remembering which way you've stepped before, what you've stepped over, what's tripped you up, what's impeded you. But eventually, you will do it. It may take some time, but the journey, I feel, is very worthwhile. Oh, sorry, did you think we'd got there? No. Not yet, not yet. Have patience. Don't become a patient. Just be patient. See things for what they are. Observe nature, how it reflects. Even this journey is a perfect mirrored reflection to find if you wish to find your way to source. And you've got your little guide here. And of course, when you look back, by this stage, you'll most likely only see one set of footprints, if you can see them at all. And it is amazing if you just observe what is presented to you. See, this pipe I've been following that leads me back to source looks very black, but you then find connections along the way. We're up to 13 minutes and you're probably thinking, oh, he's going on and on and on. Well, is that not what the path does to source? And that little trail with a hose pipe, it's still black, but it's got a lot smaller. There's a lot more pressure going through it. But eventually, what happens is, you become heart-centered. And that pipe that leads you back to source goes green. And again, how beautifully is that reflected in this material, physical realm. And here we are at the source. So I've now got to reset the pipe. So I hope you enjoyed that little journey. There'll be a couple of little offshoot videos possibly from this that will come as well. But if you have the intention and you see it through to the very end, you will make it. Guaranteed. It's a gift freely given to you. But you do have to put that effort in. Now, I'm not saying you have to go through this assault course in the physical sense, although there is a physical element to it to go through, and you will feel it physically, because it is all in the feeling. But water, the source of life, the source of all life. So I feel it was a journey that was very much worth taking.